Hey guys, I don't know if anyone really wants this, but I thought it would be helpful to me at least to kind of give a retrospective of my time with NBC and just kind of look back on it because I was really afraid to say that I had left NBC to mark the to like change my status on Facebook to not currently working for NBC or my status on LinkedIn because it's been such a big part of my life and I didn't want to kind of have to explain a million things. But I was talking to a friend who didn't even realize what I did, that I worked for the national headquarters of NBC. So I thought it'd be nice to just do a little retrospective. You guys don't have to watch this if you want. If you don't want. I started my TV stuff in my TV journey, I was going to say, but then I was like, TV journey is such a douchey sounding phrase, so I don't want to say that. But my journey, my experience, my walk with the TV, that makes it sound religious. So I started my TV journey when I did a 2-year degree in TV. I got a job at Fox 21. I worked there for about 3 years, and then I applied for a job at the national headquarters of NBC, and I wound up being accidentally the first person hired for a project along with a guy named Tracy. We basically started shadowing the NBC network. So everything that the people in New York would do, we would do, and we would pretend that we were live on air. It was really interesting. I got to work with like the head of the entire network operations center every day, working on checklists, building methods of dealing with problems, and I trained every single person who came in. And after probably 8 months or so, they had a big meeting and said, surprise, we're actually going to be running the entire network from Denver. Basically, they took the network operations out of 30 Rock in New York and brought them over to Denver, Colorado. So I was a master control operator. I was technically the senior master control operator. I was in charge of like training people and that kind of thing. And at one point, before we officially went on air, there were no official managers in the entire department, so I was kind of the unofficial manager of the department. When the training guys from New York came to make sure that we were up to date on all the details of the system, they literally couldn't find a single detail of the system that I didn't know. So they gave me the engineering codes so I could actually go into the back end of the system and figure out every single option that was available or could be available. So I would take the employees through that. So one of my guys, Jake, who now runs the sports operations for the entire country, the entire NBC, he applied for a manager position and only said he only did it because of the confidence I'd given him from training him up on all this stuff. So after a while, we went on air. We became the main network. About a month or two before we went on air, there was a manhole cover fire in New York, so we had to go on air temporarily as kind of an emergency thing. So I was working Telemundo that day because we trained to take over NBC and Telemundo for the whole country, maybe the whole of North America. I forget what it was. Could be the whole of North and South, but I'm not 100% positive about that. But I was working Telemundo that day, and as we came up on a live event, the early Today Show, the show before the Today Show, the big bosses had all come in. It was 3 a.m, but like all the big bosses for the entire city were for NBC were in, and they were like, who's going to run this live show? This is going to be the biggest challenge we've ever faced. And they pulled me off Telemundo, plopped me down on NBC, and I was the first person chosen to be the first person ever in the NBC company to run a live show from outside of 30 Rock. So that was really cool, and it all went great. Everyone loved it. And then we took it over. Over time, we've done all sorts of things. We've done World Cups, we've done Olympics, we've done more World Cups because there were female World Cups, more Olympics, there were female Olympics. That's not true. There were no female Olympics. They're just regular. World Cup is segregated. It's weird. I'm cutting that joke out. Wound up running the network, doing a ton of live stuff, got to just do playoff games for sports. We had a really good time, but after a couple years I was kind of burnt out just because of the changes in the process, and it didn't really appeal to me anymore. especially because I had to watch the news and I hate the news. So I wound up applying for and getting, well, I applied for manager positions, but the manager position I was offered was with the hub stations, so running like New York NBC and Boston NBC and LA NBC and that kind of thing. And that just didn't appeal to me. It's just a very different workflow and I just didn't care for it. So I turned that promotion down and instead wound up getting a job with on-air coordinating for the schedules. So basically I was kind of working with the regional sports networks at first and then kind of expanded over time. So I was actually building the playlists for TV. So essentially TV runs off of, like, imagine just a Spotify playlist, but instead of song, it's 5 minutes of a show, commercial, promo, five minutes of a show, that kind of thing. So I would basically build that, and over time I wound up taking on a network, then another network, then another network. At times I've run Telemundo. At the end, I was the only person in the company running three different first-run non-sports networks, and so I got to do some cool things. I got to launch a network from scratch. We created a new cable network, and I got to kind of build that, and that network was frustrating because they kept rebuilding their entire schedule every 3 months for no reason. So I get to basically like delete an old network and rebuild a new network from scratch every 3 months. So good luck to everyone on my team now that I'm gone, because that was a lot of work. So by the end I was running 3 networks and just kind of decided that during that job there were times when it was way too boring, way too nothing going on. During COVID I was working like 2 hours a day and just sitting in front of my computer 6 hours a day, kind of just hanging out. Probably working 3.5 hours, but not quite enough. By the end I was just like stressed all the time because I was getting messages, because I'm running 3 networks. I was getting Teams messages, instant messages from different people constantly. So I'd be like putting out one fire on one network and then switching, and so I'd be switching from fire to fire all day, and it was too much work running 3 networks at once. And it was funny because when I put in my 2 months notice, I wound up getting like messages from one of the vice presidents who runs a couple of the networks that I run, and she was just like really sad I was leaving, and on my last day she was like, "Please, Zach, don't go," and I love you too. But so it was good. I was able to build networks, launch the national network, run multiple networks. I was able to like do all sorts of crazy projects where I redid their entire templating system, where I redid all the graphics for everything, where like next day we added World Cup games, not World Cup, but I did World Cup, but the regular soccer games. I was have been in the credits for the World Cup and the Olympics, and it's been really cool. But all of that was semi-technical work. It was kind of like being on the headset with the director saying, ready commercial, roll commercial, and, rolling commercials, and we're clear for 2.5 minutes, counting them back in, and it was building networks and that kind of thing. It was not in the action. So what I want to do is be on camera. No, that's not true. What I want to do is be in the action. I want to be Kermit the Frog. I want to be on camera, and I want to do comedy, and I want to act, sing, maybe dance, we'll see. Although I have been on TV dancing a couple times, which is weird, on local TV. I want to write, I want to direct, I want to produce. I want to basically be involved with I want to be in the action. I want to be involved with all the creative stuff. Now I realize I'm not doing like a great job of that now. Like I'm putting out videos on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, that kind of thing, but they're all kind of just quick thrown together, mostly unedited. But that's more of an ADD thing. I do best in a professional setting where I'm afraid that I will get yelled at if I don't do my job, because otherwise I just won't put in the work sometimes. For my own stuff, I've realized I'm not good at being my own boss. So that's, I guess, why I would like to eventually work with TV again. I would like to, I really appreciate TV. I want to do late night show stuff, sitcom stuff, that kind of thing. I've always really loved the late night guys who are just, in a suit and behind like with a backdrop of the city at night behind them, like telling jokes in like a really professional, confident way. It always seemed like the coolest thing to do. So I don't know what I'm going to do right now. Right now I'm wandering through Asia, looking for a new home, because my theory was that if I'm living in a cheap place, if I don't have family around, that I will actually make videos. And I made this one, even if it's not really anything. But just pray for me, think of me, give me job opportunities or projects you want to do. I'm working on like a screenplay, and I've done, like, I'm going to start looking for improv stuff around here, that kind of thing. But yeah, just I should have written any of this or had some idea where I was going with this, but I didn't. And okay, so now I'm done. So anyway, that's what was going on with my NBC journey, and it was 6 years. They were good years. Sometimes really difficult, like when we got down to like 5 people on a 12-person team, and we were each doing like 2.5 people's jobs. That was nuts. And toward the end, it got pretty nuts as well, doing 3 networks at once while doing backup on 4 networks. So there was 7 networks worth of work, which was wild. Yeah. So where was I going with all this? I don't know. Goodbye. What the hell was that? Testing 1, 2, 3. So here's the thing, guys. I am Zach Harris, and I am testing this video. If I had a ring light, I'd look all glowy because of my time out in the sun. That's not glow, that's sweat. It was disgusting. But, nice if you are, dehydrated, need some salt. You could lick my face. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could. This is a weird video, and I think I'm done with this test. Hey guys, so I'm crossing my arms, which is not a good way to start a video. Nope, still not good. I've got to do okay, so like if I had a golf club to just hang over my shoulder, that'd be great. Bob Hope style, outdated reference. I'm just gonna keep my hands in my pockets. See, this is why I need a jacket. When you're a late night host, underrated factor is the jacket. You could just put your hands here and you could just you look good, and then but right now I just look like an idiot, just holding my belly. It's getting bigger. It's getting bigger by the day. I think that's probably because I eat too many carbohydrates. Also desserts, which are made of purely carbohydrates and fats. Also proteins, fibers, the only 4 things that exist, I suppose. I should probably edit some stuff. I wish I knew what I was saying before I started saying it, or what I was talking about, because the whole point of marketing or commercials or, any kind of, what the hell am I doing?